Imagine this. You wake up every morning with 24 hours in your hands, the same as every billionaire, every world leader, every dreamer who ever changed the world. Yet somehow, at the end of the day, you look back and wonder, where did my time go? You didn't spend it building your future. You didn't spend it sharpening your skills, and you didn't spend it on what truly matters. Instead, your hours got stolen bit by bit, moment by moment, by things that didn't deserve them. Distractions don't always come screaming in your face. Sometimes they look harmless. A phone notification, a meaningless conversation, an obligation you didn't want to accept, but said yes to anyway. Slowly, silently, they rob you blind. And by the time you notice, you're exhausted, unfocused, and no closer to the life you said you wanted. Here's the truth. You don't lose focus by accident. You give it away. Every time you make yourself available to people and things that don't build you, you're handing over the steering wheel of your life. Think about it. How much of your energy is wasted on battles that don't even belong to you? How often do you pause your goals just to respond to someone else's drama? If you've been wondering why you feel stuck, it's not because you're not capable. It's because your focus has been hijacked. And if you don't take it back, your future will keep slipping through your fingers. So today we're going to confront it. We're going to expose the silent thieves in your life. And I'm going to challenge you not just to listen, but to decide to stop being available for everything that steals your focus and to finally start being available for the life you say you want. Your focus is your greatest power. It's the invisible currency that shapes your future. Everything you give your attention to either builds you or breaks you. Yet most people treat their focus like it's cheap, like it's endless, like it doesn't matter where it goes. But the truth is, every single moment you give away is a seed you plant. And the harvest you get tomorrow is based on the focus you choose today. Think about this. Every person who has achieved greatness, whether in business, sports, or personal growth, has one thing in common. They learned how to direct their focus. They didn't have more hours in a day than you. They didn't get a special handout of time. They simply protected their attention and poured it into what mattered most. They refused to let distractions steal the best parts of them. But here's where most people fall short. They believe they can divide their attention, that they can give a little here, a little there, and still build something extraordinary. They try to chase success while scrolling endlessly, gossiping about people who don't matter, or entertaining negativity that adds no value to their life. And then they wonder why they're exhausted but not progressing. The truth is simple. You cannot focus on everything and expect to master anything. Your focus is like a beam of light. If you spread it too thin, it becomes a dim glow, barely visible. But when you concentrate it, it becomes a laser, powerful enough to cut through steel. The same applies to your life. When your energy is scattered, you accomplish little. But when your focus is sharp and intentional, you can achieve things that look impossible to others. Now here's what many people don't realize. Distractions aren't always obvious. Sure, wasting hours on social media or binge-watching shows can drain you, but the bigger distractions are often disguised as responsibilities, as people, as opportunities. Sometimes it's a friend who always calls you with their problems, but never works on their own solutions. Sometimes it's a job task that feels urgent, but doesn't actually move you closer to your goals. Sometimes it's a fear of missing out that makes you say yes to things you should have said no to. The thieves of your focus rarely kick down the door. They sneak in quietly until one day you wake up and realize your best energy has been stolen. The most successful people understand this, and that's why they are ruthless about protecting their time. They don't apologize for saying no. They don't feel guilty for setting boundaries. They know that every yes to something meaningless is a no to something that could have changed their life. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're constantly available for everything, you will never have enough left for the things that truly matter. Ask yourself right now, where is your focus going? Who is getting your energy? What activities are consuming the hours that should be invested in your dreams? Be honest with yourself. If you keep giving away your attention to distractions, you're not just wasting time, you're wasting your life. Because life is made up of days, And days are made up of hours, and hours are directed by your focus. You don't lose decades at once. You lose them one distracted day at a time. Your focus is your compass. It tells your mind where to go. If you keep pointing it at negativity, chaos, and things that don't matter, don't be surprised when your life feels lost. But if you aim it at growth, purpose, and progress, you'll start seeing doors open that you never thought were possible. Focus has the power to rewire your entire reality. It decides whether you build momentum or stay stuck. It decides whether you rise or remain in the same cycle. But here's the catch. You can't wait for the world to respect your focus. The world will always pull at you. People will always want your time. Distractions will always exist. It's not about them. It's about you. You must be the one who decides. You must be the one who says, this is worth my focus and this is not. Nobody will protect your attention for you. That responsibility is yours alone. And let me tell you something powerful. Once you start protecting your focus, everything changes. You begin to notice how much energy you wasted. Before, you begin to feel clarity instead of confusion. You begin to see results where before you only saw frustration. Because focus doesn't just give you productivity. It gives you peace. It removes the chaos from your mind. It gives you direction. It reminds you of who you are and where you're going. So stop treating your focus like it's cheap. Stop giving it away to every person, every notification, every meaningless task that shows up. Start valuing it like the treasure it is. Because when you finally understand that your focus is your power, you'll stop letting the world steal it. You'll guard it. You'll use it with intention. And in time, you'll realize that the life you've been dreaming of isn't built in big leaps. It's built in small, consistent moments of focus that compound into greatness. Your focus is your future. And the moment you decide to protect it is the moment your life begins to change. So many people live their lives on autopilot, saying yes to things they don't really want to do, agreeing to commitments that drain them, and bending themselves into shapes that please everyone but themselves. They don't even realize the damage this does because it feels small in the moment. A little yes here, a little yes there. But over time, all those small yeses pile up until they bury you alive under obligations that don't reflect your purpose, your values, or your true desires. The problem is, we confuse being kind with being available. We think that to be a good friend, a good partner, a good family member, or even a good professional, we must say yes to everything that comes our way. Someone asks for our time, we say yes. Someone wants us to listen to their problems, we say yes. Someone throws us into their chaos, we say yes. And while we are busy being available for everyone else, our own goals, our own peace, and our own focus are left unattended. Think about how often you've said yes when you really wanted to say no. You knew you didn't have the time. You knew it wasn't aligned with what you needed to be doing. You knew it was going to drain you. Yet you agreed because you didn't want to seem selfish or rude or unhelpful. But here's the truth. Every unnecessary yes is actually a betrayal of yourself. Every time you agree to something that steals your focus, you're stealing from your own future. This is why saying no is not a rejection, it's self-respect. When you decline something that doesn't serve your purpose, you're not pushing people away, you're making room for what actually matters. If you don't set those boundaries, life will set them for you. And trust me, the boundaries life sets are far harsher. Burnout, stress, regret. That's the price of a life lived with too many yeses. Now, let's be real. Saying no isn't easy. It feels uncomfortable because we're conditioned to think that our worth is tied to how much we do for others. We fear disappointing people. We fear being misunderstood. We fear being left out. But here's the reality. If you're always saying yes to avoid those fears, you're living a life of servitude, not choice. And choice is what makes you powerful. The ability to say no is the ability to direct your own life instead of letting others dictate it for you. Ask yourself how many yeses in your life are costing you your peace. How many times have you rearranged your day, delayed your goals, or sacrificed your energy just to keep someone else happy for a moment? And in return, what did you get? Did it move you forward? Did it make you stronger? Or did it leave you tired, resentful, and unfulfilled? The people who value you will respect your boundaries. The people who don't respect them are the ones who are using you. And that's the harsh truth most people don't want to face. But it's better to lose a few people who drain you than to lose yourself entirely. Because you tried to please everyone. You must start filtering your yeses. Not every opportunity deserves your time. Not every person deserves your energy. Not every battle is yours to fight. When someone makes a request, pause and ask yourself, does this align with my goals? Does this contribute to my peace? Does this move me closer to the life I want? If the answer is no, then your response should also be no. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to justify why your focus matters. No is a complete sentence. And here's the thing. You'll be surprised at how much power and freedom you gain the moment you start saying no with confidence. At first, people may be shocked, maybe even disappointed because they were so used to your yes. But eventually the right people will adapt and the wrong people will fade away. And both outcomes are a gift. When you learn to say no, you reclaim your time. You reclaim your energy. You reclaim your focus. Suddenly, the hours that used to be swallowed up by obligations that drained you are now available for growth, for learning, for rest, for creativity. You realize that productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. And what matters most can only happen when you protect yourself from the endless pull of unnecessary yeses. Let me remind you, you are not here to be a people pleaser. You are not here to be at everyone's beck and call. You are here with a purpose, a vision, a life that only you can live. If you give away, away a piece of yourself to others, there will be nothing left for the mission you were put on this earth to fulfill. The world doesn't need a drained, distracted, exhausted version of you. The world needs the focused, clear, and powerful you. And that person only emerges when you stop being afraid of the word no. Every yes you give is a piece of your life. And life is too short to give it away carelessly. So the next time someone asks for your time, your energy, or your attention, stop and think, is this worth my focus? Is this worth a piece of my life that I'll never get back? If the answer is no, then honor yourself enough to decline. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how many people you said yes to. It's about whether you said yes to yourself. The strongest version of you is not the one who is always available. It's the one who has the courage to guard their focus and protect their purpose. And that starts with the simple, powerful ability to say no. The reason so many people feel stuck in life is not because they lack intelligence, talent, or opportunity. It's because they don't realize how much of their focus has been hijacked. They keep wondering why they don't feel motivated, why they can't stay consistent, why their energy disappears halfway through the day. But the truth is simple. Something or someone is stealing from them. And until you identify the thieves of your focus, you'll keep giving away your power without even noticing it. Distractions come in many shapes and sizes, and most of them are disguised as normal parts of life. You don't notice them because they don't scream, they whisper. They creep into your routine and settle there, convincing you they're harmless, when in reality, they're draining your ability to think clearly, act decisively, and live intentionally. If you want to live at your highest potential, you must start by shining a light on these silent robbers. One of the biggest focus stealers is people. Not everyone in your life is meant to be there for your growth. Some people thrive on chaos, gossip, and drama. And if you allow yourself to be pulled into their orbit, they will consume your time and mental energy. Think about how much space in your mind is taken up by conversations that don't matter, by arguments that go nowhere, by relationships that leave you feeling more drained than energized. Every time you give in to those dynamics, you're investing in someone else's storm instead of building your own foundation. You have to recognize that not every friend, coworker, or family member deserves unrestricted access to your focus. Loving someone doesn't mean allowing them to sabotage your clarity. Another major thief of focus is technology. Your phone is not just a tool. It's a trap if you don't control it. Endless scrolling, constant notifications, checking messages. The second they appear, these habits chip away at your ability to think deeply. Studies have shown that it can take your brain over 20 minutes to fully refocus after a single interruption. Now imagine how many times a day your attention gets stolen by a buzz, a ping, or a red notification badge. Without even realizing it, you've lost hours that could have been invested in creating, learning, or progressing. The question you need to ask yourself is this: are you controlling your devices? or are your devices controlling you? Because the moment your phone dictates how your mind functions, you're no longer living with intention, you're living on autopilot. Then there's overcommitment. We tend to believe that busyness equals importance, but busyness often hides the fact that we're distracted from what truly matters. How many times have you filled your calendar with obligations, meetings, favors, and tasks that had nothing to do with your real goals? You end up running from one thing to the next, constantly moving, but never actually moving forward. Overcommitment doesn't make you productive. It makes you scattered. When you say yes to too many things, you dilute the energy you could have been pouring into the few things that actually matter. You have to learn to recognize when you're busy for the sake of being busy, because that is one of the easiest ways to let your focus slip away unnoticed. But it's not just external factors that steal your focus. Sometimes the greatest thief is your own mind. Overthinking, replaying the past, obsessing over mistakes, or worrying about what others think. All of these are mental distractions that drain your energy just as much as any phone or toxic person. Your mind is powerful, but if you don't discipline it, it will run wild and consume you with thoughts that add no value to your life. You have to ask yourself, how much of your day is spent actually doing, and how much is wasted on thinking about what you should do? Action requires focus, but focus cannot survive in a cluttered, anxious mind. Another subtle thief of focus is the pursuit of instant gratification. Every time you choose what feels good right now over what matters long term, you're trading focus for comfort. The snooze button, the extra hour of TV, the impulse purchase, the quick distraction, all of these take you off track. They seem small, but small choices repeated daily build habits, and habits shape your life. If you constantly allow yourself to be pulled toward what is easy instead of what is meaningful, your focus gets trained to chase comfort instead of growth. That's why so many people struggle with consistency, not because they don't have the ability, but because they keep feeding their distractions instead of their discipline. The most dangerous part about these thieves is how normal they feel. You don't realize you're losing focus until it's already gone. You convince yourself that it's just a few minutes, just one conversation, just one favor. But those just add up. 10 minutes here, an hour there, a wasted evening scrolling through nothing. And suddenly, months have passed, and your goals are still sitting on the shelf, untouched. The only way to reclaim your focus is to be brutally honest with yourself. You have to ask, what are the patterns in my life that consistently leave me feeling drained? Who are the people who always bring me down instead of lifting me up? What habits steal my mornings, my energy, my creativity? If you don't ask these questions, you'll never spot the leaks. And if you never spot the leaks, you'll keep pouring energy into a bucket with holes, wondering why you're always empty. The truth is, focus doesn't disappear, it gets stolen. And the first step to protecting it is awareness. Once you identify the people, the habits, the thoughts, and the distractions that rob you, you can make the choice to shut the door on them. It won't be easy. It may mean walking away from certain people. It may mean turning off your phone when everyone expects you to be available. It may mean disappointing others by refusing to overcommit. But the reward is worth it. Clarity, peace, productivity, and a sense of direction that no one can take away from you. You cannot fight what you don't see. And for too long, you've let these thieves operate in the dark. It's time to bring them into the light. Because once you identify what steals your focus, you take back the power to choose where your energy goes. And that choice is the difference between a life wasted on distractions and a life built on purpose. Discipline is often misunderstood. People hear the word and immediately think of restriction, of rules, of saying no to fun and yes to endless work. They imagine a life of rigidity where freedom disappears under the weight of constant control. But the truth is the exact opposite. Discipline is not about losing freedom. It's the very thing that creates it. Without discipline, your life is dictated by impulses, distractions, and the demands of others. With discipline, your life is guided by intention, clarity, and power. Discipline is not a prison. It's the key that unlocks the door to real freedom. Think about the people who live without discipline. Their days are ruled by whatever feels good in the moment. They wake up late, check their phones before they even get out of bed, waste time on things that don't matter, and push off important work because it feels uncomfortable. On the surface, it looks like freedom, doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But in reality, they're trapped in cycles of procrastination, trapped in habits that weaken them, trapped in the frustration of knowing they're capable of more, but never reaching it. That's not freedom. That's slavery to impulse. Now contrast that with someone who has discipline. They wake up with a plan. They prioritize what matters. They resist the urge to give in to distractions because they know every decision compounds. They don't need to be dragged by their emotions or controlled by outside noise. Their focus is directed. Their actions are intentional. And because they choose discipline, they also choose freedom. The freedom of knowing their life is moving in the direction they've set, not the one dictated by fleeting impulses. Discipline creates freedom in every area of life. Financially, when you discipline yourself to save and invest instead of spending recklessly, you gain the freedom of security and opportunity. Physically, when you discipline yourself to eat clean and train your body, you gain the freedom of health, strength, and energy. Mentally, when you discipline your thoughts and refuse to dwell on negativity, you gain the freedom of peace and clarity. Spiritually, when you discipline your habits, you gain the freedom of alignment and purpose. Without discipline, you'll always feel chained to chaos. With discipline, you can design the life you want. But discipline is not built in one grand decision. It's built in the small choices you make daily. Waking up when the alarm goes off instead of hitting snooze, saying no to another hour of scrolling and yes to working on your goals. Choosing to prepare instead of winging it. Choosing to push through discomfort instead of quitting when things get hard. These choices seem small, but they are what separate people who drift from people who rise. Every disciplined choice is a brick, and over time, those bricks build the foundation of freedom. Here's what you need to understand. Goals mean nothing without discipline. You can have the biggest dreams in the world, but without the discipline to show up every day and work for them, they remain fantasies. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your discipline. And if your discipline is weak, your future will be too. People often say they want freedom, the freedom to travel, to create, to live life on their own terms. But what they don't realize is that kind of freedom doesn't come from avoiding discipline. It comes from mastering it. Freedom without discipline turns into chaos. Discipline without freedom feels like control. But when the two come together, you create balance. You create a life where your actions are structured enough to produce results, yet free enough to give you space to enjoy them. The reason most people resist discipline is because it's uncomfortable. It demands sacrifice. It demands you say no to things that feel good now for things that will feel better later. It demands that you delay gratification. And that's something many people struggle with. But here's the thing. Discipline is uncomfortable for a while. But so is regret. The difference is that the discomfort of discipline builds you, while the discomfort of regret breaks you. Which one do you want to live with? The truth is, discipline is a form of self-love. When you discipline yourself, you're telling your future self, I care about you. I care enough to make the hard choices today so you can live free tomorrow. That's not punishment. That's protection. Protection from the pain of wasted time, wasted opportunities, and wasted potential. But discipline is not about being perfect. You will slip. You will fall. You will have days where you break your own rules. That doesn't mean you've failed. Discipline is not about never messing up. It's about getting back on track every time you do. It's about consistency, not perfection. The person who gets back up after slipping is far stronger than the person who never tries at all. When you look at the lives of the most successful people in the world, discipline is always at the center. Athletes, leaders, entrepreneurs, creators, they all live by systems and routines that keep them sharp. They don't leave their success to chance. They design it through discipline. And that's the mindset you need if you want freedom. You can't just hope for focus, success, or peace. You have to discipline yourself into them. So if you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or trapped by distractions, don't look for freedom in escape. Don't think that doing less, caring less, or giving in to every impulse will set you free. It won't. It will only chain you further. Real freedom is when you have the strength to control yourself, the clarity to direct your focus, and the consistency to keep building when others give up. That's what discipline gives you. The life you want is not found in excuses. It's not found in comfort. It's not found in avoidance. It's found in discipline. And the moment you embrace it, you'll realize it was never about restriction. It was always about liberation. Because discipline is the bridge between the life you have now and the life you want. Discipline is the foundation on which freedom stands. And once you commit to it, nothing, not distractions, not fear, not doubt, can stop you from living a life that is truly your own. Time and energy are the most valuable resources you will ever have. Unlike money, once they're gone, you can never get them back. Yet so many people spend them carelessly, as if they're unlimited. They give their hours to meaningless distractions, their attention to people who don't value it, and their energy to tasks that don't move them forward. Then they wonder why they feel empty, unfulfilled, and constantly behind. If you want to take back control of your life, you must reclaim your time and energy. You must stop giving away the best parts of yourself to things that don't deserve them. Every day, life gives you a choice. You can spend your time on what builds you, or you can waste it on what drains you. You can invest your energy into growth, or you can hand it over to distractions that leave you with nothing to show for it. The problem is, most people don't even realize how much they're giving away. They agree to commitments out of guilt. They allow their phones to interrupt their focus. They let toxic people dump negativity into their lives. And by the end of the day, their energy is gone, spent on things that don't align with their purpose. The first step in reclaiming your time and energy is awareness. You need to pay attention to where your hours go. Who do you talk to? What do you consume? Where do you spend your emotional energy? Start noticing the patterns. If you're honest, you'll see that much of what fills your day has nothing to do with the life you actually want. Once you see it clearly, you can begin to cut it out. You cannot reclaim what you won't confront. One of the biggest energy drains is people who always take but never give. You know, the ones they constantly need your time, your advice, your emotional labor. Yet when you need support, they vanish. These people are energy vampires. They don't leave you stronger, they leave you weaker. Reclaiming your energy means learning to set boundaries with them. It means understanding that you can care about someone without letting them drain you dry. Protecting yourself is not selfish. It's necessary. Another thief of your time is distraction. How many times do you pick up your phone, planning to check it for just a minute, and end up losing an hour? How many times do you open social media, scroll endlessly, and walk away with nothing but comparison and wasted time? These little moments add up. 10 minutes lost here, 20 minutes lost there, and by the end of the week, you've thrown away entire days. Reclaiming your time means creating rules for yourself. Turn off notifications, set boundaries with technology. Decide when and how you'll use your devices instead of letting them use you. But it's not just about removing distractions, it's about replacing them with intention. If you free up your time and energy but don't direct them towards something meaningful, they'll simply get stolen again. You must choose to invest them in the things that align with your goals and values. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your relationships or your spiritual growth. Whatever it is, you need to make it the priority. When you say no to distractions, you're not just rejecting something, you're creating space for something better. And let's talk about energy management. Too often people think productivity is about cramming as much as possible into a day. But if you push yourself without regard to your energy, you'll burn out. Reclaiming your energy means learning when to rest, when to recharge, and when to push forward. It's about fueling your body with good food, your mind with positive input, and your spirit with practices that give you peace. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't take care of yourself, you won't have the strength to take care of anything else. Here's the truth. Every yes you give is a trade. You're trading your time and energy for something. The question is, are you making good trades? When you give your focus to your health, you gain strength and vitality. When you give it to your learning, you gain wisdom. When you give it to your purpose, you gain progress. But when you give it to distractions, you gain nothing but regret. You need to treat your time and energy like the currency they are. Spend them wisely, and your life will expand. Spend them carelessly, and you'll stay broke in every sense of the word. Reclaiming your time and energy also requires courage. You'll have to say no to things that once felt comfortable. You'll have to walk away from people who expect unlimited access to you. You'll have to resist the temptation of easy distractions. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first. But discomfort is the price of growth. The moment you start valuing yourself enough to protect your time and energy, you'll notice a shift. You'll feel lighter. You'll feel more focused. You'll feel like you finally have the capacity to build the life you've been dreaming about. Ask yourself right now, if I continue spending my time and energy the way I do today, where will my life be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Will I be closer to my goals, or will I be further away? The future you dream of is being shaped in this very moment by how you spend what you have today. That's why reclaiming your time and energy isn't optional, it's essential. The beautiful thing is, once you take back control, you'll realize you had the power all along. Nobody can force you to give away your focus. You allow it. Nobody can steal your time. You hand it over, which means you also have the power to stop, to say no, to redirect, to choose. And that choice is what separates people who drift through life from people who design it. Your time is your life. Your energy is your power. Don't waste them on things that don't deserve them. Reclaim them. Protect them. Invest them. Because at the end of the day, the life you build will be the result of where you chose to spend your hours and your strength. And if you choose wisely, if you guard your focus, you'll not only reclaim your time and energy, you'll reclaim your future. Here's the truth you can't afford to ignore. Your life will never rise above the level of your focus. If you keep giving your time and energy away to distractions, to drama, to people, and habits that don't deserve you, then you're handing your future over on a silver platter. But the moment you decide to protect your focus, everything changes. You've seen it. Your focus is your power. It's the light that cuts through the noise. You've learned why saying no is not rejection, but self-respect. You've identified the silent thieves that drain you. You've understood that discipline is not punishment, but the pathway to true freedom. And you've recognized that reclaiming your time and energy is not just an option, it's the foundation of living with purpose. So now the choice is yours. Will you keep being available for everything and everyone, spreading yourself so thin that you lose yourself in the process? Or will you rise up and take control of your life, guarding your focus like it's the treasure it is? Because make no mistake, it is a treasure, and once it's gone, it's gone. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Your future is being shaped right now, in this very moment, by what you choose to give your attention to. Stop letting the world steal from you. Stop giving away your hours to things that don't matter. Decide today, right here, that your focus belongs to you, and you alone get to decide where it goes. Say no to distractions. Say yes to your purpose. Say no to chaos. Say yes to clarity. Say no to what steals from you. Say yes to the life you were meant to build. Protect your focus. Guard your energy. Reclaim your time, because in the end, the strongest version of you, the one who fulfills their potential, the one who leaves a legacy, is the one who refuses to be available for anything that steals their focus. And that version of you, that powerful, unstoppable version, it's waiting. The only question is, are you ready to claim it?